Hi, welcome to my channel. My name's Christy and I have read over 112 books so far this year, and today I want to talk about the books that I read in September. So if you would like to hear about that, stay tuned and I'll be right back. Welcome back. I am sitting in the Half Price Books parking lot. I'm specifically looking for some like early readers for my almost 5-year-old. We're not necessarily pushing the reading already or anything like that, but just if he starts like showing some interest, I'd like for him to, maybe start working on a few little sight words or something. The other thing is, my whole family has been sick for like a month. I'm better. It's just the last part of like my asthma stuff and then the medicines I'm taking kind of causes like, I don't know, me to want to clear my throat a lot. All right, so for September, I read a total of 6 books. It was actually one of my slowest months so far this year. I am still being very slow. There's a couple of reasons. One, we've started homeschool with my 4.5-year-old, almost 5-year, oh, he's almost 5. It's very light. We do it when we feel like it. So that takes up a lot of time. The other thing is my husband and I started watching Vox Machina and in the evenings, and that's usually my main reading time. And then Agatha all along is back. Well, it was on, I think they had the season finale this week, I think. Ooh, gosh, I don't know now. Anyway, we've been watching that. So we've been watching TV in the evenings more than we usually do. So I think we're caught up with Vox, so maybe we can get back to our reading. So between those two things, me having to take time to plan homeschool stuff, and then also watching TV in the evening. So anyway, so I read 6 books in September. One of them I gave 5 stars. 4 of them I gave 4 stars, and 1 I gave a 3-star. However, I think the 3-star, I ended up changing it to a 2-star. I'm pretty sure I changed it to a 2-star. Yeah. So the first book that I read was Saturation Point by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I gave this one 4 stars. I really liked this book. It's about a team of people. Well, okay, let me start with this. Climate change has gone nuts. The tropical zones are so hot and humid that people cannot live in that area for more than like 15 minutes or they die. Nobody lives there, but they occasionally send they've sent scientist teams in to study the area. Well, this one team went out and had a specific doctor, a scientist in the group, and she's gone missing. And so this corporation has put together another team to go in. Well, they want this other person who was a student of the missing doctor, and she has also been in the zone, never wanted to go back. So they they call her up and ask her to go in. She's like, okay, fine, I'll go. And she's kind of like the expert of the zone for these people, for this team. Well, upon landing, immediately things go to heck. And so they, it's all about them getting through this jungle, trying to track down this doctor, and coming in contact with some new creatures that are, new creatures that can withstand the environment. So, evolved creatures. So, it was a very interesting book. I am really enjoying Adrian Tchaikovsky. I'm quickly thinking he's becoming one of my favorite authors. But yeah, anyway, it's sci-fi, near future speculation type stuff, climate change kind of books. So I really like his books because sometimes I don't necessarily just like enjoy them like while I'm reading it, but he causes me to think a lot. Like I go back and I think about the stories that I've read of his a lot. So anyway, so far I'm really enjoying him. Okay, so the next book that I finished was The Last Devil to Die. It is the last book in the Thursday Murder Club series. And when I say last, he plans on revisiting it and writing more books, but he is now writing another series, or at least he just released a new book. I haven't read it yet. My mom read it and she was like, it was good, but she was confused because there were so many characters. But she was like that with the Thursday Murder Club when she first started reading it too. So anyways, by Richard Osman. I gave it 5 stars. This book messed me up. We were in the car driving to my in-laws' house, and it's about a 45-minute to an hour drive, and I started looking out the window. My husband was driving, and I'm just looking out the window, and every once in a while going, and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Nope, I am not okay at all." He's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Sad book." Sad book. Ooh, sorry. If you haven't read the Thursday Murder Club books and you like mysteries, you need to read these books. They're fantastic. There is a big part of this book that is just so sweet and so sad, and it was so good. And I don't like to cry. I don't like to be emotional. Man, some of these books that get me crying, it's because they're so good. Okay, the next book that I read, I'm not going to tell you much about the Thursday Murder Club books or about that book in particular, because I don't want to ruin any of the previous books. The main story of the series is that this is a retirement village in this town in England, and these retired people get together on Thursdays and look at old unsolved cases, and they try to figure them out. Sometimes things happen in their there was one thing that happened in their community, and they started looking into it and ended up solving the murder, and that's how they started getting together. But the characters are just so well done. They're about to make a TV show from the books, and the people that they've cast for these characters are just like, they couldn't have gotten a better crew or a better set of people, and I'm so looking forward to that show. So the third book that I read was called The Sense of Death, the Anne Kinnear suspense books. It's the first one. So this by Maddie Dalrymple. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, Maddie. Anyway, I gave this book 4 stars. It is it's about this girl who, when she could always sense presence, past people. And it got to a point where she quit talking about it to like her family because they didn't understand and they thought it was weird, and so she just stopped talking about it. Well, then in like her high school years, a girl has gone missing. Well, she ends up finding the girl's body because she can sense her presence, and it's more like just the essence of them leaving. She doesn't really look at it as being their ghost haunting the area as much as it was just their essence when they passed, just kind of the last bits of their energy there. Anyway, so she's an adult now. She has this one client that is wanting to find a house to live in that has a nice ghost, or like is haunted. She wants a haunted house, but she wants it to be haunted by a nice spirit. She doesn't want to be scared, in other words, but she likes the idea of her house being haunted. So she takes her to all of these house showings when she's looking. So she goes to this one house and she immediately is like freaking out. She's like, I'm leaving. She just like jumps in her car and takes off. And because she sensed this horrible, horrible murder. Now, in the first couple of chapters, you hear the murder, you see the murder happen, or, you know, the murder is very descriptive. I will say it is pretty graphic for me. I say things are graphic and then I find out later that a lot of people don't think that that's graphic. So I'm like, okay, well, whatever. And so you know who did it from the very start. You know who the ghost is. So you know all these things right away. But it's how they figure it all out. Anyway, it was, I would consider it a like paranormal thriller. It's a good Halloween style book, if you're looking for that. It is, I gave it 4 stars. I'm not a fan of thrillers, but I really, really liked how this one was done. I don't know if I'll continue in the series. I've got so many series going on and so many more that I want to get into that I don't think I'm going to allocate my reading time to a series in a genre that just doesn't excite me. I mean, isn't what I love. But if you like thrillers and you like a little paranormal twist to them, I would recommend giving this book a try, and it, you know, maybe even the whole series. It was good. I thought it was well done. Okay, what is this? The 4th book that I finished this month is I put 3 stars down immediately, but I think I ended up changing it to 2 stars. And I'm going to make a lot of people unhappy with this because I read this because so many people raved about it. And I will say that I did not realize that it was a romance. Now, I should have realized that. And I'm not a fan of romance, so that's why I'm saying that. But I was like, you know what? It's okay. If it's sweet and cozy, I might be fine, because it's, you know, that time of year. I'm fine with a little bit, you know, here and there. So, the book I read was Pumpkin Spice Café, the first book in the Dream Harbor series, of which I will not be reading anymore. By Laurie Gilmore. Like I said, I think I gave it 2 stars. So, we'll go with 2 stars. Okay, this book starts, it's not bad starting out, in my opinion. It's kind of Hallmarkish, you know, the sentimental romance, and it's fine. It's fine. I used to be really into that. It's just not my thing anymore. But the story was okay. I was like, okay, I can get with this. This book is basically, like, it feels like reading an alternate universe Gilmore Girls show. Book. I watched Gilmore Girls, I think it was last year. One of my friends, it's like her favorite show, and I'd never seen it, so I was like, well, let me give it a try. I didn't finish it. I got pretty close to finishing it, but I finally just was like, okay, I got the gist of this show. It was not a bad show. It was cute. There were some really cute parts in it. But that, you know, what is it? His name is Luke, has that cafe, and then Lorelai, I think is her name, the mom. You know, and they have this like love interest or whatever. In this one, the lady owns the cafe, and the man is this hot farmer guy that brings her his produce for the cafe. So that's kind of the setup, and it's very much like, you know, the small town, everybody knows everybody, everybody's in everybody's business, but it's that warm, safe, close-knit community. So all that I liked. It's not something I want to read all the time, but I was down with that. Then the last hour and a half of the book got very, in my opinion, very graphic in the love scenes. And the first time I was like, okay, well, maybe that's it. And then no, it just kept going. And so I'm like, this is, again, not my thing. I'm more of a closed door. I don't try to be a prude, but I just don't want to hear about it, okay? And my sister was going to read this book, and I told her that, and she's like, okay, nope, not for me either. It's just, I'm not into that. If you are, great. Somebody needs to read these books. It's just not my thing. So if you like that, and if you like the cozy romance, and you really like the steamy, spicy books, you might really like this book. This is right up your alley. This was definitely not up my alley. So, having said that, my second to last book, my fifth book that I read was called Network Effect. It is the fifth book in the Murderbot Diaries, and by Martha Wells. I gave this a 4-star. I love the Murderbot series. If you haven't read the Murderbot series, you have any kind of taste for sci-fi, you need to read this series. Fantastic. They're very short reads. They're just so good. Now, what I will say is the first 4 books is like watching the first season of a TV show, and starting with the 5th book, it's like you're starting a new season. So it's the same, but there's a slight difference to it. So basically, with the Murderbot series, he is an android that has hacked his governor module, which is what keeps him from having his own will, his own freedom. The governor module keeps robots as slaves and keeps them from having their own thought and freedom, which in the thought makes sense, because you don't want robots going rogue and killing all of humanity. So they add this patch in there to keep them thinking. But somehow he managed to hack it and free himself. There's also this mystery of what happened with him. He calls himself a murder bot because when he had hacked his governor module and he woke up, there were murdered people around him, and he was the only person alive. So he assumed he killed everybody, because that's kind of what they are. They're more like they're a security. They call them sec units, so like security. So they have the ability to murder very easily. Anyway, so he has gained his freedom, which is very illegal, and he is kind of a rogue unit, and he's out trying to figure out what has happened to him and also protect humans that he cares for. And it's really funny because he's struggling with his emotions. He's struggling with just his growing humanity and his care for other people. And also, the most hilarious part is his addiction to media. He is so addicted to this like soap opera that even when he is like in the middle of like some kind of dramatic thing, he wants to pause and go watch his media. Not really pause, but watch it in the background. And there was like one part that this person was like basically offering him a job, and he was like, it sounds interesting, but it would take too much time away from my media. It's just really funny, and it's a great series, so I highly recommend it. The last book that I read was for the book club that I'm in. It's called Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. I'm terrible at names. I gave it 4 stars. This was another paranormal thriller and great for Halloween. It was very good. I would recommend this one. Again, I'm not a big fan of thrillers, but I end up giving thrillers high ratings sometimes because I don't know why. It's just not my favorite, even though it looks like it's my favorite. This story is about a woman who has gotten out of drug rehab, and she's gone to work as a nanny for this rich family for their 5-year-old little boy for the summer. And he loves to draw, but occasionally draws these really creepy pictures of this creepy woman. And she's basically his imaginary friend. And like he has conversations with her and stuff like that. Well, his drawings get creepier and creepier. And meanwhile, she lives in a little shed kind of thing. It's not really a shed. It's been turned into a little apartment for her in their backyard. And she starts having these like really weird things happen. Things get creepier and creepier and creepier as the book goes along. I didn't figure it out. I usually figure these things out, but I didn't completely figure this one out. I did, and there was a big twist that was very interesting in the end. So, anyway, I would recommend that book. So, yeah. That is it. That is what I read for the month of September. We're in the middle of October. I know this is a late video getting out. I've been really bad about getting videos out. And I do have plans to make a few more. So I'm actually going to shoot another video here in a few minutes. And it's a tag video of which I was not tagged. But I want to do it anyway. So, you have a nice rest of your October, and I hope you have some enjoyable time during this fall season. Enjoy the weather, and get a lot of reading done. I will see you again in my next video. So, I got some books. I got a bunch of Lego City books. My son is obsessed with playing Lego City on the Switch. He and I play together, and we play. I'm going to take this sweater off too because it's warmed up. Anyway, I got several of these, and then a couple of other. Here's one about a leaf. It's fall, so we'll read that. And then a Daniel Tiger one, and then Amelia Bedelia. One about clouds, and then we are big America's Test Kitchen fans in our family. And we had gotten this book for my niece and nephew. And then, I think for all the nieces and nephews. But I don't think I don't know if we have one or not. If we don't, I'll give this away to somebody. But yeah, this book's normally $20, and I got it for $9.50. I probably could have gotten it for cheaper somewhere else, but whatever. Yeah, so I got a few books.